All right, everybody, welcome to Whiskey Mania presented by New Whiskey Order. Tonight we are going to be going through 11 fantastic whiskeys. We're going to be breaking things down into the Speyside Triple Threat, which will be presented by our guest referee, Nick Hardy. After that, we'll be into the Highland Ladder Match, and our guest referee will be Adam Brudner, who will also be refereeing the Heavyweight Championship. After that, we'll be moving on to the Intercontinental Blindfold Match, which, as you'll note on your sample bottles, are not labeled. So we'll be going through those blind, and then we'll be wrapping. That will be presented by Tim MacKenձie, our guest referee, who will also be presenting the Islay Cage match. So we've got a lot of whiskeys to get into. I'd like to introduce our guest referees. Nick, say hello.
Hey everyone, super excited for this. I think it's gonna be fun, and maybe we'll have a few surprises. Maybe someone will be crowned we're not expecting. Hopefully, have a turnover.
I think we could have some unexpected ones here. Adam, say hello.
Hey, it's good to see everybody again. I'm so excited for these whiskeys. Thanks so much to Russell, especially for putting this on as he does in his usual amazing way. We have some of my very favorite distilleries here from some really, really cool vintages and some crazy stuff from beyond Scotland as well. So I'm very excited.
Fantastic. And finally, Mr. Tim MacKenձie.
How's everybody going? I am just thrilled to get into a number of these because there are a handful of distilleries here that I have not had a single expression from. Got a couple that I'm brutally familiar with that I'm excited to be presenting as well. So buckle yourselves in because we are in for a marathon of a tasting tonight, ladies and gents.
A marathon in the best sense of the word. All right, referees, thank you very much for that. And yeah, we have 11 whiskeys to get through tonight. Normally, we like to get into the history and some deeper information about the distilleries. It's not going to be that kind of night. It's fight night. So let's kick things off right away with the Speyside Triple Threat. And for that, we are going to turn things over to Nick Hardy. And as I've been practicing here, let's see if I can nail it. Let's get ready to rumble.
Ooh, I got chills and I got electricity, so it's not just the cold. All right, so triple threat, Speyside, 3 Speyside, distilleries, maybe a bit under the radar for some. What I suggest we do here, since we have 3 whiskeys, we'll go champion for the nose, champion for the palate, champion for the finish. Please interact. Please tell me what you guys think. And then we have the overall winner. So it's going to be a tag team cage match. And let's dive in with the first, Imperial, 1991, 17 years old, from very known Gordon MacPhail, 1991. So that's a great year. I know Adam likes them a bit younger, but 1991 is a pretty dope year. It's 43%. What I really like about those Gordon MacPhail bottlings for this kind of line is they have very low ABV, 43%, but usually they have a thick palate. So let's dive in with the nose first, everyone. I have very fresh notes, an orchard, pears, really slightly chocolate, like those French fondue.
Definitely classic Speyside.
Yeah, definitely.
But maybe a little heavier than some of the ones I'm used to drinking.
Very fresh, very exactly what you would expect from a Speyside. Exactly. Yeah.
I get a little bit of like rock candy on the nose as well. That's really pleasing. I love Imperial releases, and I'm a big fan of the stuff that Dalmunach is doing. I don't know if I mean, it's probably well known at this point, but Imperial was demolished, and Dalmunach was built on the site. But really lovely stuff coming out of there. This is just fantastic, though.
Have those hard sour candies. Yeah.
Yeah, lemon drops maybe.
Mm.
That kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
I-
citrusy.
I'm with Tim. I love Imperial. Some of my favorites have been like 95, 96. But 91s are amazing. This one has for me a really strong, like floral sweet character, almost like elderflower, like if you've had Saint Germain, that sort of flavor.
Definitely.
Yeah, very pear, like we said. Yeah,
Yeah.
really fantastic. And a little bit of something tropical as well, which I love getting in Imperial.
Yeah. Mike, I'm gonna put you to work. Please go to the next slide before we actually taste the whiskey. I'd like we do the nose, the three noses, and then come back. So Mannochmore, a bit younger, but previously distilled, 1984, still Gordon MacPhail, 40%, so still low ABV. On the nose, really doesn't show it's diluted, for sure. So I think this one was distilled and bottled before Adam was born.
Yeah.
They
Just
all
taking
were.
shots. I'm sorry. I've just had one beer before.
Also, my daughter Erin there, she wasn't born till 99, so
Oh,
we
gee.
got,
That'd be a good whiskey to offer her.
Yep.
well, she's sitting right there.
Oh, let's jump in. A
That's
bit.
what I was drinking earlier,
Oh,
1990.
nice. Nice, Mortlack. Yeah. This one is a bit heavier. It's not what I would expect from a typical Speyside. More mature. So younger for me, but more mature. I have some strong leather notes, like beaten straps of leather.
Like rawhide.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Kind of kinky.
Okay, there's a descriptor I haven't heard in a while. Kinky. Kinky, eh? Nick.
I get a little more wood
Mm.
interaction with this one than the Imperial.
Yeah, this almost to me has a bit of a sherry cask character going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we knew.
Yeah, with these old connoisseurs' choices, it's probably a mix of things. And knowing Gordon MacPhail, there's probably a good component of sherry casks or refill sherry casks in there.
I was gonna say, if it was my guess, I would say refill. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh, we got a sound effects.
yeah.
This one for me, it feels very, very much older than the previous ones. More mature, a bit. I wouldn't say more complex, just less Speyside. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this should have gone into the Highland match. Very good. Okay, next slide, Mike, please.
Old diesel on the nose, like
Old
old
diesel.
diesel.
Yes.
Mm.
Not pleasant, like old diesel at the track. Things sit out in the sun.
Yeah. Slight sulfur.
Yeah, it's
The
that old
oldest-
sherry cask there. Yeah.
The oldest, Glenburgie 21, Gordon MacPhail, 46%. Oh yeah, you can taste the age. I have a mix of the previous two. You got some very good, I would say, two sherry cask notes, classic ones, but still have some fresh Speyside, orchard, vanilla.
Strawberries on the verge of going raw.
Yeah, sour
I like
strawberry.
that. This one to me has like the most modern profile where it's got like kind of a modern sherry where it's like toffee and stone fruit, but it has like, I love Glenburgie. Like it's legit one of my favorite distilleries, and it can have this amazing tropical character. And this one to me has it a little bit. It's got like a mango sort of thing to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of like a
I got some
Pokeball, you know?
papaya in there, Adam.
Oh, totally. See, I don't
Mm.
eat very much papaya. That's why I wasn't thinking of it.
All right, so who has the Imperial,
At the nose for
please
these
raise
two.
your please, you can virtually raise your hands. Who has the Imperial as a nose winner?
Let's throw it into the chat, please, everyone.
Or into the chat?
What's your favorite?
Yeah, if we put it into the chat, I will keep a tally.
Should we just put which one's the best, the winner for the nose?
Okay.
Is that the deal?
Yeah, that works.
Yes, please.
I have to say I have the Mannochmore. I love those a bit dustier, older notes on the nose.
It's the Burgie for me.
The Brudner. Ooh. Gordon MacPhail makes some great Burgies.
I typed Imperial, but I think I might switch to the Mannochmore.
Mm.
Initially, the Mannochmore was my favorite, but after they opened up a little bit and went through it, I had to go with the Brudner.
Yeah, I threw the Glenburgie in there also. I've never had Imperial or Glenburgie before, but I'm gonna go with the Burgie.
It's a tough call for me. These definitely changed over the course of the hour that I left.
Yeah.
I think it initially the Burgie was my favorite, but I think I've settled into the Imperial.
It's very fresh. It's very refreshing. All right, so let's have a taste. Let's have some fun. Starting back with the Imperial.
What's the ABV of that?
43 or 40%.
What's this
The
one?
lowest one, 46,
What's this?
43.
That's beautiful. I could accidentally drink that shit.
Oh wow, it's very, very different from the nose. I wouldn't say I have diesel on the palate, but I have more matured notes, slightly dusty,
On my tongue.
probably refill sherries. Got it.
It comes off a lot more creamy than I was expecting.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of a Guinness feel.
Yeah, it's got a great filling of the mouth, like that mouthfeel is just thick and
It's like satin, the mouthfeel.
Sandalwood.
Totally.
I was not
Ooh,
expecting that.
sandalwood.
Yeah, not expecting that for sure.
interesting finish.
Oh, you want to jump to the finish right now, eh? You already.
Well, it goes with.
Yeah, we can do both. It's very. It starts off very soft. It's like when I swallow, there's not much going on, and then you wait, and oh, it starts like creeping on you, and then comes in your face. I really like it's 43%. I would usually stay away from anything under 46 just because we all know why. But this line of Gordon MacPhail is always solid. It's not thin. You have a good, like, I mean, I wouldn't expect a 55% whiskey on these, but it's still thick enough. It's enjoyable. It's not like drinking American beer or something. No.
Very interesting how it goes peppery through the mid palate and that goes away into almost a tin, like a metallic.
There's a mineral, something like that.
Yeah,
I wrote down graphite.
that works. Yep.
So it's same flavor, I think.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, I like that one.
Yep.
Mannochmore now? Yeah, the nose is great.
Mhm.
Which one is
Mm.
it? Oh,
See, I would drink the Mannochmore before the Imperial. I feel like the nose and palate are switched on these. I find the Mannochmore a bit softer, a bit more on the fruity side, maybe some candied fruit. Still and very like you go from a thick nose with leather, tobacco, and then you move on to some fruit and stuff. And with the Imperial, I had it the other way around. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely a little more thin.
Mm,
On the
Oh,
palate.
It's also 40%.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just the oil, so it's
Yeah.
thin, it's thinner on the oil.
I feel like the nose almost eclipses the palate.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
The nose comes off much more forward, and for some, I mean, obviously, it's got to be the watering down of the ABV, but it seems underpowered.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think this would have shone a lot better at a higher proof.
There's almost no finish.
Yeah.
Like I
Quite
think
short,
I'm
yeah.
still tasting the Imperial.
Yeah, definitely medium short.
Mm.
I mean, it's very pleasant. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong.
Mm.
Like I would use this as an opener for a tasting like this. I think it's a great way to start things off because it's not super aggressive in any direction, but it's
Nope.
very pleasant.
It's got a great balance to it for sure. Yeah.
Anyone saying, "Oh, I don't like whiskey," I'd give them that, and I think they'd be pretty happy with it.
It might
Well,
be a little
Travis-
over the
Travis
top
has a
for
helper.
newbie. Yeah.
I'm trying to tie a bracelet.
Oh, so you're the helper.
I'm listening.
All right, so let's move on to the winner. Seems like it was the winner for the nose. Nice job.
There we go.
There
We
we
got
go.
a poll.
Wow.
Oh my God, Mike did something.
I know, it's a freaking miracle, right?
Way to be.
Yeah, no, the problem with that, Mike, there's two of us.
Same with Nick,
Same with Nick.
Nick and her dad.
Wow. So this one is good. It's very complex. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, this was by far my favorite. I had pre-tasted these ones a couple of days ago, and the Glenburgie was definitely the winner for me. Very sweet,
God.
very fruity, and I think it is more substantial with the 46%.
Yeah, it shows. It definitely shows for sure. I have a very slight sulfur note, but a good one. Not the kind you would find in a peated whiskey that's just not that good. I think it just adds a little layer, maybe from the charring. I don't know what char they used, or if it had a bourbon cask before, a bit of bourbon cask in it, maybe. The Glenburgie is definitely on another level of complexity. I really dig the Imperial for sure, but that goes as a bit of a step over. Anyone cares to say anything about the Glenburgie, or are you all in awe about it?
Well, for me, a little bit of sulfur is just a no-no. And I think this whiskey has a lot of sulfur, not little.
Yeah, like that.
I agree
funky-
too. I get a lot of sulfur on this too.
Yeah.
That's another Gordon MacPhail thing, I think.
Mhm.
They can get a few sulfury guys.
I'm really sensitive to sulfur though, so
Yeah, same here. I can't even, right from the nose, I knew what I was going to get on the palate.
Yeah, I would say I am very sulfur insensitive, so that's probably why I like this one so much.
Do you drink white wine, Colin, a lot?
Sometimes to wash down food, but I wouldn't say I'm a connoisseur.
Yeah. So people who really, have white wine, they don't feel sulfur that much.
I actually don't mind a little bit of sulfur.
Yeah.
I find that it can add to the experience. although too much sulfur can certainly detract. I think the Burgie, I think it walks that line pretty nicely. I think it gives another element, another little bit of depth without making it feel like you're sucking on a recently extinguished match.
Yeah, for me, this is probably like moderate sulfur, I'd say, where it's like more than I'd like want by choice, but it's not like a deal breaker quite yet, I think.
Oh, people love sulfur. You know,
I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, last month I opened a bottle of Tobermory, and like the minute I opened it, I knew I made a huge mistake. But then when I put it on Facebook, people who love Deanston 20 Oloroso and those.
That Deanston's garbage. Oh, yeah, that's one of the sulfuriest whiskeys ever.
Don't say that. And I'm hoping you are not getting close to Casey's house.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Oh man, Adam, we'll need to get in a cage.
People love that Deanston 20 Oloroso.
I know some people do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember there was that 1999 Glenburgie sherry cask that came out a couple years ago, and that was just a massive sulfur bomb.
Well, it certainly can give a sharp edge. Was it the Tobermory 17 Oloroso?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
that was. I've re-had a taste after it was open for several months. And it's not as bad as I first evaluated it, but it's very subpar from what previous releases came out from Tobermory. That's for sure. The price was good, honestly. Having a $200 for limited edition 17-year-old cask strength Oloroso, pretty good price for what we have for OB. But it was not that great.
All right, so there's the results. Our championship of the Speyside Triple Threat is the Glenburgie.
Woo!
Nice.
That's good. I'm kind of disappointed in the Mannochmore because the nose really led me thinking it would be heavyweight, but it's kind of a very lightweight.
That was interesting. The Imperial ran away with the nose, and the Burgie, I wouldn't say dominated. It was 15 votes to 10 over the Imperial. Mannochmore did not even show.
So how would you decide a winner?
Imperial nose just went back to the Imperial nose, and oh my god, so good.
Oh yeah.
So for the people who really liked the Imperial, when I was drinking it earlier, I was comparing it to this one, which is the only bottle of Imperial that I have in my collection. It's an artist collective one, which I really quite enjoyed. It's a 1995, 48%, a little more sour, but fairly similar notes. And so might still be available for the people out in Alberta. That's where this was sourced. So yeah, if you liked that, this might be a similar comparable.
And I'd say that for the people who had never tried Glenburgie before and didn't like this one and liked the Imperial, know that I think most Glenburgies are probably closer to the Imperial that we had than to this Glenburgie. You know, this is the first sulfur Glenburgie I've ever had.
Most Glenburgies are very good. I agree.
So something interesting happens here. I think you had like what was Mike? You posted a poll like best taste, and it has happened to me before. I think the better whiskey is the Glenburgie, but the one I enjoy the most is the Imperial. I don't know if anyone else has experienced something like that. No,
I can totally agree with that, Nick.
Am I crazy?
For me, the nose on a whiskey is
Very
so
important.
superior to the palate. Like you can sit there and enjoy the nose of a whiskey a lot longer than you can enjoy the palate of a whiskey. So,
have you
also it's hard as well when you're I know we just separated the nose and the palate, but like you get so much of the palate or of the nose just by drinking the whiskey itself, right?
Yeah, for sure. Russell, have you had this one? The Glen Elgin 11 years old from James Eady, the new one, the Marsala cast?
No, I
The
haven't.
Madeira cast? No. Oh my god. Like the palate and finish are pretty strong. They are very good. But the nose is just so next level.
Oh, yeah.
You don't drink this. You just open the bottle and sniff it.
I love that. I love that part. That's the best part of the whiskey.
So are all the results in? Mike?
I'm gonna cut it off right about now. We're 2 minutes in. And let's cut it off. And there's the results. The Speyside champ, Imperial.
Oh, snap. Can you do it in your best Bruce Buffer impression, Mike, please? And new?
I don't know if I got it in me.
The
The let's get
new.
ready to rumble, I think blew me out.
I could do that, but
That's a big upset.
Speyside champion.
Love it.
Well done. Well
That's a
done.
big upset.
I'm shocked, but
Yep.
I agree. So
That is awesome. All right. Well, Nick, thank you so much for taking us through. Those were 3 fantastic whiskeys, and that was a lot of fun. But let's keep things moving here. We're on to the Highland ladder match here, and we'll turn things over to Adam Brudner.
Oh yeah. Well, those were some fun whiskeys. I personally am a huge Imperial fanboy, so I was not surprised that Imperial won because it's the best distillery in Speyside. Sorry to say. But now we move up to the heavier weight fighters. I don't know if that's actually how boxing matches work. I've never seen one. But here we have this amazing 25-year-old Tomatin, distilled 1988. This is one of their standard batched releases that you can see in the old bottle shape. Matured in a mix of bourbon casks and port pipes. And yeah, maybe let's do let's go through the nose separately between the two, and then the palate and finish afterwards. So on the nose, this one, for me, it's fruity, but you can really smell the maturity. You know, you can smell it's got that kind of musty sort of note. For me, this has the note that I look for so much in older whiskey, which is wax and beeswax. This has like amazing, and everybody please chime in the comments in the chat, and on top of me. Yeah, this has there's a little bit of the port casks that I'm getting, but it's not overwhelming. The whiskey, like there's a little bit of that kind of jammy, like berries sort of thing. And it's got that kind of aged, like old books kind of note on the nose, which I really like. Needs more port. Aaron says needs more port. I don't know. I don't love port casks.
Always more port.
More port? All right.
I'm with you.
I don't know. Especially when a whiskey gets this old, I feel like the less wine in the cask, the better, for my taste personally.
there's definitely a hinge point for sure with port. Like it's really easy to let it overtake the spirit qualities. So I think this one dances the line pretty well for.
I agree. Yeah.
And I think she's basing most of our port stuff is young Westlands and Kilchoman. So
that's true. Yeah.
And Balcones.
And Balcones.
I got a few.
Balcones. Wonderful.
Well,
I work there.
Oh, there you go.
The other thing too is with your ports, are you doing a ruby port or are you doing a tawny port, right? That will greatly influence.
Or a California port or a Texas port. Yeah, it gets really interesting really quickly.
Is it just me or there is a very, very sherry sour note?
I wrote down rhubarb, which kind of has that sour kind of character.
Yeah.
Like a rhhubarb pie or something.
Yeah.
That I was gonna say like a strawberry rhubarb pie,
There you go.
like before it goes into the oven.
I don't think I can get that specific, but I love it.
It's an amazing baker, so.
Oh, there you go.
But the oven was preheated and it's now about 375.
I was going to ask what temperature? What temperature is very important.
You
Okay.
know, you're talking about preheated ovens and waxiness. I don't know if any of y'all ever did this, but you used to go to the zoo and there was a machine. You could pick an animal and it would make a little mold would come together. It would make a little wax animal. And then,
Moldorama.
yeah, it would spit it out. And that's what you're talking about, the heated oven and the wax. And that's totally what I get. You guys might be
There you go.
most of you too young for that, but
I'm definitely too young for that. I remember where you go to the zoo and you get, there's those machines where you put a penny into them and
Yeah.
you like turn a crank and it gives you this flat zoo coin. Those were cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving swiftly along.
And for those that are even younger than us, what's a penny?
Oh, it's true. It's true. At
You
least
think
I got
about it.
that on the real youngins.
The
I've
next
seen a penny before.
generation will not
Yeah.
know.
There you go. Okay. From Tomatin, we now move on to Glen Keith. Back into Speyside, actually. Glen Keith operates across the road from the Strathisla distillery. It was originally opened to supplement Strathisla. Super under the radar distillery. I think this bottling that we're trying now is one of the only official bottlings they ever did. But I believe I'm the only Glen Keith fan in the world because they're so under the radar and they're so good and they're still really cheap most of the time. So this Glen Keith is 1983 vintage, or actually, more interestingly, it says distilled before 1983, which is not something I'm really used to seeing on labels of Scotch. So it's not really a vintage statement, but these bottlings tend to be 10 to 11 years old. And on the nose, for me, for this one, this is like seriously like from a forgotten era kind of whiskey. It's so, it's got funk that is not so common in whiskeys nowadays. It's got I don't know if anybody's been to like you go to an Asian supermarket, you get those like egg flavored rice crackers that have like an egg yolk flavor to them. I don't know if anybody's tried those, but they're delicious. And this kind of has like an egg yolk funk to me, not like a sulfur, but it's like kind of savory. And it's got
Definitely very antique-y.
Yeah, definitely. Like it smells like the inside of my grandpa's liquor cabinet.
yeah,
which he hasn't touched since 1975.
I got mint, like a mint right off the bat. And then also, this is kind of weird, but since I'm living in a hotel right now, freshly cleaned hotel bathroom right when you first walk into the room.
I like it. It's got that kind of perfume sort of character, like almost soap a little bit.
Soapy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people really hate soap in whiskey, but I like Bowmore, so I clearly love soap. Yeah, this has kind of like I wrote down like bizarre things. I wrote down sour cream for this one when I tried it yesterday. I'm not sure I'm really getting that now, but it's got sort of, yeah, like a plasticine kind of funk, maybe a little yeasty, like sort of maybe orange zest was something that I picked up. A little bit of yeah, that kind of antique wood. Cherry pie. I get the cherry pie.
Adam, this could be like the Springbank of Highland.
Yeah.
There you go. This Springbank is one of the few distilleries that I think still preserves this kind of funk really well. There are others that do it. It'll show up in Glen Scotia from time to time. In Ben Romick kind of has this funk. Glen Turret can have this kind of funk. Modern Glen Keith. Glen Keith is sort of bizarre in that it was mothballed in 1999. And, like most of the Speysides that closed in the 90s, they're gone for good. Imperial demolished, like we said. Glen Keith reopened. It was bought by Pernod Ricard. It reopened in 2013, which means that until very recently, it was the last distillery in Scotland to reopen after having been closed. So there is new Glen Keith out there, I think. I don't think I've seen it bottled. It's allegedly 10 years old at this point, but this is definitely not that. Okay. should we get a poll going on the nose so far between the two of them?
Going back
absolutely
to the
should.
nose on the Tomatin, I almost get like a smoky, not quite peaty, but there was something that I didn't recognize until after nosing the Glen Keith for a while.
I think you're absolutely right. There's almost like a cedar smoke kind of character. Oh, that's
really
weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up the first time I poured these the other day.
And then
That's
going
very interesting.
back to the Glen Keith after that, it's just it's like a fruit salad, like
Oh yeah, like pineapple.
the syrupy cherries that are like electric red color from God knows what preservative, but
Yeah, I had a lime MacKenձie written down. I don't think I've eaten
wow.
MacKenձie in 15 years, but
That's a great
So I think that the Tomatin is definitely like just your standard Scotch nose. If someone smelled it, they'd be like, "That's Scotch." But the Glen Keith definitely has a lot of really interesting things going on.
Glen Keith's something special. Yeah, I agree.
I really had the Glen Keith at first, but now that the Tomatin has opened up and the rhubarb and strawberry pie has gotten into the oven, I think I'm gonna go with the Tomatin.
There you go. Yeah, maybe we're starting to burn the strawberry or get it very well browned at least.
Yeah. Start smelling good around here.
Yeah. I think they're really both amazing noses.
Yeah,
personally.
seriously, I'm having trouble just figuring out which one I like more.
I love both of them, but for completely different reasons. Like,
yeah,
these are such different whiskeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so different. So different. Of all things, the Glen Keith reminds me of, I mentioned my grandpa's liquor cabinet earlier that he hasn't touched since 1975. When I last visited him, he had a bottle of J&B Rare unopened in his cabinet that I think he bought from a duty-free shop in the Caribbean in like 1973. And so I cracked it open and tried it. And modern J&B Rare, probably my least favorite of the blends. Like, I really can't drink it. This this J&B Rare from the 1970s was like unambiguously good and crazy old school and funky and Springbank-like, and very much like this Glen Keith, I think. So it's a window into the past of whiskey. Ooh, we have the Tomatin edging out the Glen Keith here.
Indeed.
On the popular survey.
Okay. I'm envisioning a comeback here on the
You are?
though.
Okay. All right. We'll see. All right.
Let's go.
Start with the Tomatin here.
It's a real Rocky story here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glen Keith going up the steps.
For me, I get more of that beeswax, some orange, less of the port here maybe, but then very rich oak, a little bit of that peat note that Tim mentioned that I didn't get before, but I'm getting it now. And a very buttery character that I like, sort of browned butter.
Yeah, the peat note is getting a bit stronger.
Yeah, I think that's active casks and a lot of time is part of that, where you get that very dark herbal kind of leather peat.
Yeah, I definitely get the leather. There's a really nice minerality to it, like this dustiness.
Yeah, it's got that antique sort of flavor. Totally.
I get some kind of ashtray finish at the end, at the late finish, and it's in a positive way, not in like a negative way, which is odd to say.
Yeah, it's got a very strong oak, but for me, it's not overbearing. I think there's still like some fruit on the finish. There's a little bit of see, I get a minty note on the finish of this one. Speaking of minty notes,
Yeah,
just a little bit.
I'd buy that.
Yeah.
Almost mouthwashy.
Yeah.
I think Aaron nailed it with the meaty note.
The They do occasionally allow her to write tasting notes at Balcones, but
Oh.
most of the time they don't want to publish them.
Oh, that's the dream job. People actually pay you to, to listen to your tasting notes. That's the
Yeah,
dream.
until you get something like black trash bag.
Yeah.
That's true.
We love
I
black
love
trash
black
bag here, Aaron. We love it.
I'm sure that doesn't come
Hashtag
up at
trash
Balcones
bag.
often.
Yeah.
That barrel is not ready yet.
Okay.
One more time.
Seems like an understatement. Awesome.
On that
Let's never
Tomatin, I
revisit the
get
trash
like
bag.
on that Tomatin, I get like s'mores, but with really, really dark chocolate, like 70% cocoa chocolate.
Oh yeah, I get that. I
There's that
wrote.
really nice bitter chocolate right on the finish.
I have gooey brownies in my notes, but that's more of a sweeter chocolate.
I also get some oaky bitterness on the finish.
I agree.
You know, like sometimes when a whiskey is over oaked.
Yeah. Yeah, this one when I tried it the other day, I thought that like, oh, there's a chance some people are gonna find this too on the oak side. For me, I tend to like whiskeys that are sort of far on that side. But yeah, it's there's a spectrum of tastes there.
Yeah, I get that oakiness as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have called it over oaked for sure.
Yeah. Okay, the comeback's ready. Comeback's ready for the Glen Keith. Let's give it a try.
I think that the palate and the nose on the Glen Keith are really well aligned.
Yeah.
There isn't like a splash of a surprise anywhere. Like really, really for 11 years, to me there's more legacy to the flavor.
Yeah, there's for me a very strong like almost a Manuka honey kind of a note, like really strong honey that's on the nose and on the palate. For me, that's the main note on the palate is that honey.
Yeah, I get that honey, and there's a real nice like herbal note to it on the palate. Like almost reminds me of kind of a more modern Highland Park, that heather vibe.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Oh, I know what you mean
with that, but it's good. It's good stuff for sure. There's there's a good continuity between like the nose, the palate, and the finish. I wouldn't say it's the most like funky whiskey, but there's a nice momentum.
Yeah, I think this one tastes less funky than it smells. All that weird like crayons and plasticine. I'm not getting that as much. It's still like mineral a little bit. Like I got like sort of a wet clay kind of a note.
Which one are you talking about right now?
The Glen Keith.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Should we throw a poll up?
Do it.
Between the nose and the palate.
I think this will be tough. I think it'll be really close.
I think this is going to be a runaway.
Yeah. I don't know. I knew which one I preferred when I tried these the other day to take notes. And I think that preference has switched. I don't know. What else are we thinking for flavors for the Glen Keith? I think the finish is maybe a little bit longer than I expected. Like it's still not long, but it's a lot lighter than the Tomatin for sure. It doesn't have that oak heaviness.
Well, the Tomatin,
Just added a drop of water to both.
It's a good idea.
I found that neat. The Tomatin, the finish was it had that bitterness to it. It was a little astringent. It was quick. With water, that finish really opens up. A lot more of that fruity sweetness appears in the finish, and it goes for much, much longer. That with neat, my preference was Glen Keith, but with water, I switch. I like the Tomatin.
Ooh.
The nose on the Tomatin with the water and it changes. I mean, like, wow.
Yeah, the water in the Glen Keith didn't really change it all that much. It absolutely transformed the Tomatin.
Because Tomatin, I think, is more dense. Glen
Definitely.
Keith is more open. You know, it's more, the complexity is less in Glen Keith. So the water probably won't help that much.
I
There's
really
the results.
Yeah.
Ooh, so the percentage is looking good for the Glen Keith.
Yep.
Are the numbers, actually, does this include finish? It just says best taste. We didn't really talk about the finish separately.
I'm just
Well,
using just
well,
taste.
and
All right, it doesn't
finish-
matter.
Yeah, that's kind of where I expected it to be.
There you go. There you
Yep.
go. Yeah, when I tried this the other day, I thought the Tomatin had it handily, and now I'm reconsidering. I thought the Glen Keith on the palate especially did better today for me.
So let's go overall.
Oh yeah, let's see.
This should be interesting because the Tomatin took both nose and taste.
You got to consider which one you'd actually want to own a whole bottle of. Which one do you want to revisit over and over again? Which one's unique?
That's what I put. Yeah, Cheryl's yelling.
See,
at me.
I think that's two different questions, though. I think,
Yeah.
I think
like
the Glen
maybe
Keith
what's
is
the
much
most
more
complex
drinkable.
whiskey? Yeah.
I think the Glen Keith is very drinkable. I could pull that bottle off my shelf any night and be happy drinking it. The Tomatin, I think, is one that I would only pull off if I had time to sit down and think about it and kind of really focus on it. It's not a session whiskey. That Glen Keith could be.
I find the Tomatin more there's more diversity to it, and I really like that. I think the finish on the Glen Keith just takes everything away, but there is still a nose and a palate for me, and the Tomatin just takes it a bit over. But I'd be pretty happy having any of those two on my shelves, and I would happily drink those like continuously. But I think the Tomatin slightly edges it out.
Yeah, I think for me, maybe the Tomatin is like the technically better whiskey. Like it's more complex. It maybe has a little more depth, but I'd absolutely rather have a bottle of the Glen Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? A great man once said, doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning is winning. So
there you go. Deep wisdom there.
I'm interested in what the
Then
disparity in the pricing is, because that would affect.
That's true.
I have a feeling that the Tomatin is more expensive.
Yes, it is. I mean, the Tomatin is going to be a lot easier to find than this Glen Keith, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, everybody, get your votes in. We're going to be cutting off the vote in 10 more seconds. And I will tell you, it's tight. It's really tight.
That's a Glen Keith that one of the liquor stores near us that we've been looking at, and we actually bought a bottle to send to Elijah Ammon, if any of you guys know him, because he's a big Glen Keith fan. But now we might pick one up.
Oh, is that by one vote?
Snap!
Wow.
Is that by one vote?
By one vote.
Oh wow.
Oh my.
But
referee interference. Yeah, it is referee interference because I voted for Glen Keith.
did Ken, did you both vote? Because if not, it might changes everything.
Well, here's the thing. Because I'm running the polls, I don't get to vote.
Oh, what would you have voted for?
Tomatin.
Okay, you have a tie. That's a tie.
We have a tie. We need a rematch.
Yes. I like
could
the
do
idea of that.
You know what, Mike? You don't count, so it's not a tie.
That hurts me right in the heart, Ken. Right in the heart.
Shots fired.
You know.
Oh man.
All right. Well,
Savage.
those two whiskeys were both awesome. That was a really fun head-to-head. But now it is time to get to the main event, the heavyweight champion of the world.
All right, this is the title fight, ladies and gentlemen.
This is why we're all here.
This is why we're here. I actually think we should start with the Clynelish. Certainly for the palate, but maybe for the nose, I think we should start for the Clynelish. So tonight, of course, we answer many questions. We answer the question of Village of Brora superiority, but we also answer, if Brora is so good, why isn't there Brora 2? And the answer to that question is that there is Brora 2. It's called Clynelish. So Clynelish, as many of you may know, was built in the village of Brora, next door to Brora, in 1967, and it was originally called Clynelish B. The Brora distillery, that's now called Brora, was Clynelish A, and the two operated side by side for a time before eventually they closed Brora for a year to make sure they were getting Clynelish right. And then when Brora reopened in 1969, they thought they were going to run out of whiskey at Kalila for use in blending. So they ran heavily peated batches of Brora, but we'll get to that later. So we can't talk about Clynelish without talking about wax, which is the famous note in Clynelish. Okay, just had to make sure which one was which one of my identical glasses here was the Clynelish. I can tell because it's waxy. What does the wax in Clynelish come from? I don't think anybody knew until about 2000, when they went to clean out the stills in Clynelish. They did a full deep clean of all their equipment, and they found in the low wines receiver, coming off the spirit still, coming off the wash still, they found a gunky buildup in the low wines receiver that nobody had ever seen before, and they eventually they cleaned it out. When they started distilling again, there was no wax in the spirit. That gunky buildup, whatever it is, nobody quite knows what it is. Whatever it is, that's the source of the wax in Kalila.
Should be fusel oils.
Kalila in Clynelish. So say again?
It should be fusel oils. We get them too.
There you go. Fusel oils. Fusel oils, source of the wax. So Clynelish, early 80s. These are some of the vintages that Clynelish nuts really go for. People talk about Clynelish changing over the years, that it's less waxy now. That is partly because they cleaned out the low wines receivers in 2000. In 1997, they switched from steel shell and tube condensers to copper, and the steel shell and tube condensers acted more sort of like a worm tub, where you were retaining more of that kind of heaviness to the spirit and richness, whereas the copper cleans most of that out, those sort of heavier sulfur compounds. And nowadays, you have distilleries like Dalyuan, which have sort of retooled what they're doing to get more of that Clynelish-y wax character. But this one dates from the real wax years of Clynelish from 1983. It's a Murray McDavid selection. This is the second Murray McDavid selection we've tried at New Whiskey Order in a year after that fantastic 1973 Linkwood from last year. This one is 20 years old, matured in bourbon casks, and bottled at a lovely 46%. Let me just find my notes here. On this one, it's like, for me, this is like totally clean, gorgeous wax. As opposed to the Tomatin, which to me was more of, maybe had like a paraffin, a beeswax kind of a note. This is more of a paraffin. It's more oily. It sort of has like a mineral character to the wax. It's floral as well, I find, like kind of rose petals, like flower stems. It has like a stemminess, but not like a young kind of stemminess. It's very clean sort of style.
I get an initial metallic note on the nose too.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, kind of like
apple.
Yeah.
Apple, sure.
Hard to describe.
I'm getting some really, really nice fruits in here.
Yeah, I wrote down grapefruit, pineapple, starfruit maybe a little bit, where it's got that kind of tart tropical thing.
For sure, I agree.
Passion fruit a little bit. I remember when I tried this yesterday. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm getting a little kiwi and like not quite ripe pineapple.
Yeah, it's like, for me, this is like maybe just ripe pineapple, where it's like perfect down the middle. Not getting like too sweet and too funky. which is maybe when pineapple is at its best, depending on who you ask.
I get a little like parchment or like vellum kind of
Yeah, I have clean linens written down, which is I think is sort of similar.
All I get is tabarnak. This is bourbon cask. Like, this is the bourbon cask nose I like.
Yeah,
wow.
if you let this rest a long time, which might be difficult because it is delicious. For me, when I tried this to take notes the other day, the bourbon cask character really came out the longer it rested, where it was sort of leaner and cleaner and more metallic at first. You give it, 25 minutes in the glass, you get more of the vanilla, sort of a banana character that sort of comes out that I'm not getting now. Green strawberries. Ooh, I like that.
Thing with the bourbon
Strawberries
cask,
for
this
sure.
one, to me, it's like a second or third fill. It's, I'm not.
It's true.
I'm not getting that heavy vanilla note that you would of a fresh bourbon.
Yeah, let alone 20 years in a fresh bourbon cask. That should be
Exactly.
lots of vanilla. So yeah, I think you're right. This is probably refill. I mean, with Murray McDavid, usually you have some crazy wine finish, and here I like that Linkwood as well. It was also like a refill hogshead or something, and it was the only non-crazy wine Murray McDavid that I've ever had. And
I was going to say, like, what I'm not getting is Murray McDavid.
Yeah,
It's
not at all.
Weird. It's not crazy. It's not bonkers. But fuck me, is it ever good?
Oh yes, good call, Colin. The Ben Nevis was also ex-bourbon. Yeah, like oh man, just perfect clean. Like I wrote down spring water, which isn't really a flavor. Maybe that's the absence of flavor. But this doesn't have an absence of flavor. I don't know. Crazy good nose.
I get a little bit of like a honeydew melon.
Oh yeah, totally. It's that, yeah, and that green fruit kind of a theme. Honeydew.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what that was. I am getting the melon for sure.
Okay.
All right. I know nobody likes Brora, so let's just get this out of the way.
Oh god, yeah. We got to drink a Brora now. Come on. Okay, so now we got to drink Brora. So like I said, Brora, of course, famously has just reopened. So we're gonna get more Brora, and I'm certain that in 3 years, the first bottling that's gonna come out of it is gonna be half new Brora, half old Brora, so that they can justify charging like $300 for the first new Brora. I'm certain that's what's gonna happen. Like I'll bet money on that. But we're dealing with lovely OG Brora now. This one comes to us from the fantastic Signatory Vintage. I think this is one of their Millennium Edition bottlings. This was bottled in 2000. It's 19 years old. It was matured in a sherry butt. I would guess that it's a refill sherry butt, given like the general character. Yeah, this is a Brora nose. In terms of peat, I mentioned earlier that Brora was did for a time, I think from about 69 to 72, run very heavily peated to try and supplement Kalila when they thought there was going to be a shortage of whiskey at Kalila. Funnily enough, Cragganmore did the same thing in about 2008 or 2006 when they thought there would be a shortage of whiskey at Talisker, and that's why we got that one heavily peated Cragganmore as a special release a couple of years ago. So there you go, same history repeating itself. But
heavily peat infused itself into the copper.
Yeah, so now, forever there will be, I think Cragganmore uses a little bit of peat in all their bottlings. So maybe it'll just be that a little bit more this time, which would be very good. Yeah, I liked that Cragganmore as well. Yeah, me too. At Brora, after 72, they sort of went to a moderately peated style. But then after 1980, until the distillery closed in 1983, they went for generally a much more lightly peated style, which I think is what we have here. I've had a heavily peated Brora from 1981, so I think they were still doing peated runs, and I think you can find heavily peated ones from the late 70s as well. But yeah, this nose is like, I sat with this nose for an hour the other day when I poured it, and I wrote down so many different things. Smoked meat, absolutely. Russell, herbal for sure. Herbal is the thing I've had. This is my third Brora. I'm lucky enough to have had three Broras. The herbal green savory character is what comes through in all of them for me. Like I wrote down roasted Brussels sprouts for this one.
If I can pull that together, the first thing I got was Pechuga Mezcal.
Okay. Yeah, that's again sort of a green agave roasted, sweet, funky smoke. I get it.
I was gonna make my cream cheese icing, but I don't want the sound will drown out this side. Won't do it.
What else? Burnt sugar, totally. Honey baked ham. Yeah, it is. It is the time of year, right?
Smoked ham.
Seafood. Oh, seafood for sure. I'm getting like lime out of this, sort of a mossy kind of a character. It's kind of steely. And it's different. It's like grungier than the Clynelish, I think. It's more of like an iron compared to steel. I don't know. Maybe that's more of a visual metaphor than what it actually smells like.
There's a coastal quality to it also that
Sure, it's briny, yeah.
I don't remember any others really having that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's there's just so much stuff. This for me, there's just layer after layer. Like I got at one point I have buttered sourdough written down. I don't think I get that now, but I'm certain I got that the other day when I like sat with this for like an hour. I got an amazing floral character coming out. I got jasmine, peppermint, dandelions, sort of a Darjeeling tea kind of note, like an oxidized black tea. There's an antique wood kind of character. Yeah, this nose, in the words of Stefan, this nose has everything.
Well, let's see what people think.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I don't want to taint the poll by saying what I think, but
both are so good for so different reasons.
Yeah.
Going back to the Clynelish after noticing the Brora.
Oh my god!
It's so much like buttery banana.
Buttery was exactly what I was about to say. Wow. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Like a tempura battered banana.
Ooh.
With some like almost like a marshmallow, like a not marshmallow, but it's the marshmallow spread. I can't.
Jif. No, fluffernutter, right?
Fluffernutter, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. The Clynelish is even better coming back from the Brora. Fried plantains, yeah, like plantain chips.
Yeah.
If you've never had salted plantain chips, do yourself a favor. They're so good.
Both of these are just ridiculous, though. It's not fair.
Yeah.
I love that. Like sometimes when you do head to head, you try to have I don't know, 2 Marsala finished casks or 2 sherry bombs and stuff. But having 2 very, very, very different whiskeys head to head, no matter if you want to crown champion or not, it's very, very interesting. Like puts a lot of things in perspective.
Absolutely.
Well, let's put that in perspective.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not
surprised. I can't say I'm surprised. I think this Brora might have maybe the best nose of any whiskey I've ever nosed. Like, for me, it's that
so
good.
Much complexity to it, for sure.
From the top rope.
Layer on layer on layer.
So, I mean, for me, that Clynelish nose is insane. And if it was going up against any of the other whiskeys we've had so far tonight, it would win. But I mean, that Brora is just a Brora.
This is why this is the heavyweight match. This is why people go nuts over early 80s Clynelish. Oh.
I'm really just hoping, and I know it's not very mania, but I'm just hoping this is Frazier like pounding on Ali, and then boom, Ali comes out on top. But I don't know. Wow, this is Frazier versus Ali.
I'm looking at Dave's background, and I'm thinking it's more Hogan versus Andre the Giant.
Yeah, I know more about boxing than
And that Brora is definitely Andre the Giant.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
It's a
I was gonna say
classic.
I'm gonna use
Classic
all my
match.
boxing knowledge on this metaphor. You ready? So the Clynelish is the Ali, where it's fast, it's clean, it's got style, it's it's all skill. The Brora is Tyson, where it's just completely relentless, throwing everything at you. How'd I do? From people who know boxing, was that okay? And he's gonna bite your ear off.
Very good.
Okay.
Not
Ah,
bad.
yes.
Not bad, Adam.
Okay. All
Done.
right.
Well
I'm
done.
proud of myself.
All right,
Outstanding.
let's put this in our mouths.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Slancha, everybody.
Slanch.
Clynelish first. Perfectly timed piano riff. Wax, more wax, piles of wax, burning, burning candles.
Longer finish than I thought it would be.
This reminds me a little of the Keith, actually, where it's got the honey.
For sure.
Yeah, it's in kind of the same realm, same vintage, actually.
Really nice honey, similar herbalness to it, but I'm getting that like bourbon cask herbalness now with sort of that fennel. The
fennel, that's a good note.
Yeah, the fennel that what are those seeds with that licorice?
Fennel seeds.
Good and plenty.
Anise.
Star
Yes.
anise.
Yes,
Yeah.
anise.
Good and plenty.
Yeah, the good and plenties for sure. That's definitely what I'm gonna. Oh, that's good.
So I was gonna put this on for 1 minute because I saw you boogie outside. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
So for me, I've been working on these ones for a while, actually, because like I said, I pre-started on some of these. I think one of the things that comes through on both of them, actually, is a bit of a spoiler, is there's this very like lactic acid character to them, especially on the finish, which is something that, having not done a lot of head-to-head Broras and older Clynelish before, was something that was very striking to me.
Has anyone done a Brora and Clynelish head-to-head before? I haven't. I agree. There's a tart character. I agree. Yeah. I thought it was citrusy at first, but no, you're right. It's lactic and kind of buttery. I don't remember getting that on the Brora, but we'll see. Yeah, this is like, grapefruit peels for me. It's got that sort of dry malty character, kind of slaty, like a mineral note, very clean. Finish is super clean. A little bit of that elderflower thing again. Pears a little bit. Biscotti. Oh, there you go. I like biscotti.
Yeah, this for
Honey,
me
for
is
sure.
an Italian dessert. It's very rich, but at the same time, it's very light on the feel. It's very like the Italian pasta they eat. Like everything Italian you will eat is pretty much exactly like that. Like strong flavors. It's very full. It's very fulfilling. Very good. At the same time, nothing is like drenched in butter or like heavy oil and stuff. Everything is perfectly balanced. And like this, there are a few whiskeys. I did the Orcadian vintage tour in Orkney, and the guide asked me, "Oh, what do you think of the vintage 68?" I'm like, "It's just fucking good." It's sometimes like this Clynelish is exactly that. It's just really, really, really good. You can say whatever you want about the flavors. End of the day, it's super enjoyable.
It's so good. It's like, and the mouthfeel is fantastic. It's so creamy.
Very creamy, yeah.
Yeah, really, really nice experience there. And on that finish, it's just like the perfect bourbon cask experience. The vanilla is there, the butter is there, the caramel is there.
Yeah, it's got that buttercream.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to go back to Nick with that balance. Absolutely is nothing in there is overwhelming. Nothing is trying to take over. It's just taking you on that ride.
Yeah, it's like supreme elegance.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, nowadays we are spoiled with all these cask strength whiskeys. And these are only 43 and 46. And they're still so powerful, even at that ABV.
Yeah, this is not lacking anything that you would hope to get from a higher ABV. You're so right.
Yeah, like you don't need higher ABV on these whiskeys.
Definitely not. I agree 100%. You hit the nail on the head. They're just prime time, perfectly crafted, amazing cask selection. Like I'm blown away.
The previous whiskeys we've had were like Netflix series. This is HBO.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's
This
take
Brora
that
is definitely HBO, I think. Cheers. Not suitable for faint hearts.
Brora is like watching an episode of Sopranos where everyone gets whacked, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
The Brora, when I added a little bit of water to the last bit of it, and the heat just exploded on the nose. On the palate, it reminds me of, to me, there's dirty Port Charlottes and there's clean Port Charlottes, and it reminds me of the clean Port Charlottes. Like
it's a good comparison. It's got that kind of, it has the barnyard character you get in Port Charlotte. It's got the it's got that kind of like nori seaweed sort of character that I get in Port Charlotte all the time. For me, there's actually wax on the Brora, I think. Like it has a paraffin kind of thing going on. Again, grimier than the Clynelish. I got sunflower seeds, something I wrote down. It's kind of got that nutty. Yeah, like old pencils, fired clay was something I wrote down, allegedly. It's carbolic. It's got a, the smoke has heft to it, but it's very silky. And I'll have to try with some water to see if that smoke can get going even more. But yeah, briny like the nose was a little bit. And then the finish is pretty long, for me at least, where it has a little bit more of that fruit coming in. It's a little floral again. If I had a beard, I'd season it with the Brora. Yeah, like that. I assume you mean Tim's beard.
I'm gonna be smelling my mustache throughout the rest of the evening.
Nice.
See, there you go. Fried onions. Ooh, I like fried onions. I get a fried onion thing from this. That's a good note.
Yeah.
Get fried onions on the nose, actually.
It's interesting that you're saying it's very clean. Like to me, I almost like the first time I tasted it without any water, I almost got a bit of a weak, like Springbank industrial vibe to it.
Yeah, no, you mean the Brora?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one I don't think is that clean. It has that, the industrial, the barnyard. Yeah, especially compared to the Clynelish. It's a dirty boy.
So I've been doing the comparison to this bottle here that I was the only one in my collection, which is very similar. It's a Duncan Taylor. It is cask strength, so maybe not fair, but it's got some very similar notes. And then I was lucky enough to get a sample of, I don't know who sent this to me. I think it might be somebody in the group, but the 14th release of the OB.
Oh yeah,
And
which vintage was that? Do you know?
That was 2014.
Okay.
And
I've had that one.
It's interesting. It's very different compared to these two. So the Duncan Taylor and the was a Signatory are very similar, and the OB, it just has a little bit more of like a meaty character to it almost, and I think the peat is a little more pronounced.
Yeah, I agree. That was I thought I have my notes handy on that 2014 release. That one I thought really needed water to get going. That's the comment that I remember on that.
Yeah, and I've
definitely
water's
peaty.
been in them for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do that one.
They're all at 57, 58%. So
yeah, it's true. I think personally, I like this Signatory that we're drinking better than that 35-year-old special release. It's a more lovable Brora, I think. It's not quite as crazy and like bitter as that 35 is. The 35 from what I remember, has a good amount of oak going on that this doesn't have. This is a very light touch from the cask. This
It
one
is
a
very
more level
light for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's an interesting comparison. Oh, Glen Keith. Come
Yeah,
on
there's
now.
no Glen Keith this round.
Oh,
What are you doing?
hold on,
that's a
hold on,
winner. Brora.
hold on.
Results will be the same.
He's
Someone-
had a little
Still
too
have
much
the Glen
Brora.
Keith on your mind.
I'm trying to do this and drink at the same time. Like, give me a break.
Oh no, we all understand. We all understand. This is a hard job.
You need a designated pollster? Who's not
Maybe.
I already voted for the Glen Keith. Oh.
Yeah.
Glen Keith wins. That's the ultimate surprise champion. You know, from the top row.
Out of nowhere.
From the top
I
row.
guess.
Gonna
Oh
slide
my
it
God, the
in.
Glen Keith's got a folding chair.
Gonna slide it in every poll.
Yeah.
There we go.
This is a hard one.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, this is a tough matchup. This is a tough matchup for me. I think one fighter clearly will win on a maybe not a KO, but by decision. I'll say. There's my other piece of boxing knowledge. I didn't know I had two, but here we are.
Yeah, this one's gonna go all the rounds. How many rounds does a boxing match have? I don't even know.
Don't ask me.
It's over.
So
That's
Brora and I
over.
aren't going to vote this time, Mike, because we're
12 to 15.
Gonna be hard to beat this Brora.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one is a better whiskey for me. It's also more enjoyable, like by a mile. But the other one is a better experience.
I get where you're coming from. I get
For
where you're coming
me-
from. There's a full package.
Yeah,
that comes
I'll
with it.
reveal which is which after the results are in. for
Okay.
the
I think
voting.
I'm going to be on the wrong side of this one, but I already spoiled my answer in the chat a while back up.
Yeah.
For me, there's one of the bottles is one that I would be happy to reach for every single day because it just perfectly aligns to the experience that I want from a quality whiskey. Both of these are great bottles, but one of them is perfectly aligned to my preference.
Don't just say it. You like the Clynelish.
I like the Glen Keith.
There you go.
Which
All
one has the
right,
Sauterne
here
finish?
come the
That's true.
results, and
Whoa!
Oh, snap.
Oh, the upset.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay, so this is on best taste, right? This isn't overall. So we have to have another round.
So I was on the right side of this. I really thought the Clynelish, it just had more to it. Like the Brora is it's very interesting. It's very it's fun to get to drink the Brora, but I just thought there was like a little more complexity to the palate on the Clynelish, and it is something I would just keep going back for.
The Brora had an amazing nose. You could sit there and just nose it all night. But overall, when it comes down to actually drinking it, the Clynelish one.
Yeah.
I'm right there with both of you.
Well-rounded, right?
I don't know. I'd reach for the Brora every day if I had access to it.
And I mean,
For
But I
me,
understand.
that perfect everyday whiskey. It's a Clynelish.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah,
I want to drink that Clynelish every day of my life.
Yep. I would drink both of these every day.
And I would enjoy the Brora. I just know that I would not reach for the Brora as often as I reach for the Clynelish.
That's why there are more people in the world drinking Johnny Walker Black Label and Blue Label every day than the single malt.
That's a backhanded compliment if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a backhanded insult. I think he's saying that Clynelish is like Johnny Walker Black.
No, you don't get it. You don't get it. A lot of Clynelish goes into blended whiskeys.
Yeah, most of it.
And that's the reason why you are conveniently saying that we can drink Clynelish every day compared to Brora because it's more drinkable. And that's why it adds that quality or property to blended whiskeys, which most people in the world drink every day.
It is different though. So for the Clynelish, I've been comparing it again, not fair because it's sherried to KWM G&M release from a couple of years ago. And there's just it's very different than modern Clynelish. Like there's something that's been lost over the last like 20 years, 25 years with whether it's automation or changes in their production or cask management, but it's just not the same. And I'm going to assume that the stuff that's going into the blends is just not the same either.
Well, Clynelish doesn't even release their whiskeys, right?
Yeah.
Don't they still have a 12-year?
The only
14.
whiskey,
14.
the only
14.
whiskey they release is 14-year, and once in a while they release their DR, the distillery reserve. But 90% of their whiskey goes in Johnny Walker blends.
Yeah,
probably more than 90.
With Johnny Walker is that they blend it out till it's water. There's no flavor in Johnny Walker. So
yeah, but if you drink the Blue Label, if you drink the nicer blends which they release,
I will disagree with you 100%. I have drank the Johnny Walker Blue, and it's a waste of money. If I want water, I'll go to my tap.
It's a complete waste of money. Smells good though.
I think green and gold kick the pants off blue and black any day.
They're all bad.
They're all bad. Yes, I agree.
I
double
gotta
black-
agree.
The double black is probably
All
the
right,
only
everybody,
one
do we have our votes in?
Yeah.
Let's not get drawn. All right, everybody
I was
calm
gonna say,
down. Let's
Mike
not get
being
drawn
the
into a boxing
referee.
match here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, by decision, the heavyweight champion of the world.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
There it is.
Oh, snap.
There it is.
My congratulations to the champ.
Yep.
Looks like I gotta
Long
find
may
a
he reign.
Clynelish.
Yeah, Russ, I got bad news for you, bud.
Yeah, there's a reason these early 80s Clynelishes are so legendary. The SMWS has a bunch that are super sought after, and that like 26.121 or whatever it is. And then Brora has its own character that can stand on its own. I do have an update. Somebody asked about how expensive it'd be to get that Glen Keith. I know a guy who's bought it at auction recently, and I messaged him while we were enjoying our heavyweight match, and he said that including the shipping and reshipping, because he lives in Hawaii, the total for that Glen Keith came out to $90 US.
Good God.
It's available at auction if you want to do it.
That is so worth it.
Yeah, and apparently almost half of that was shipping and the auction fee.
Wild.
So it was like a
But I mean,
$50 bottle.
it's not something that would be like a hype bottle at auction, right?
No,
Like,
Yeah,
it's
and
kind
I'll
of a
say again,
You'd be like one bid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's like a
I'll say
dumpy
again.
look. It's like 11-year-old age statement. Like it's
Nobody
definitely something
cares
that would
about Glen
fly
Keith.
under the radar.
It's a sleeper.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a sleeper for sure.
We all are going to swear ourselves to secrecy here. Nobody talks about Glen Keith outside of this tasting.
Or Glenburgie or Imperial.
Yes.
Also-
I'm
also
going to
nobody-
edit all of this out before I upload it to Facebook.
Yeah.
Also, nobody talk about Brora. We don't want the public figuring out that they want hype on Brora.
God forbid.
I heard that Johnny Walker Red was 100% Imperial.
Yeah, you hear that, Imperial fans? Just buy Johnny Red instead.
Yeah,
Favorite Southern
exactly.
That was
All
about
right,
right.
so that was the main event. Thank you, Adam, for taking us through those fantastic whiskeys. That was a lot of fun. Now it's time to kick things off to the Intercontinental Championship, and we're going to be doing this in the blind. So here to walk us through is my good friend Tim MacKenzie.
Sancha, everybody. Amazing stuff so far. And we've got two really interesting ones that are blinds. I did nose them both before I caught a reveal, so I'm really interested to see what people are coming up with on both of these, because they are really unique. And I figured we'll wait to reveal after we make the decision so that nobody
Yes.
is. Yeah.
I don't know how a blind boxing match would work. Are like, are they in ski masks or
Like
something?
this.
I think it would probably be
I
pretty
like
funny.
Travis's demonstration. Yeah.
So what is we're on number 1 here.
Oh yeah.
So right off the bat, dark fruits. I got like the Luden's wild cherry cough drops that aren't very medicinal. They're more like candy than they are like a cough drop. I'm getting that on the nose. There's like a bit of a hay quality, like slightly damp hay. Definitely a bit of like salted butter. Plums.
Lots of sherry on this, like the dark fruits.
Yeah, for sure.
What is
Like-
Montreal style jerky, Max? I didn't know they had a style of jerky.
Just pronounced
That's a-
J.
You need samples of that, Max.
That's a jerky that you do without electricity.
This comes off like a Kavlan.
There is a
Yeah,
blend.
I agree with that. Like it comes out of the gate hot.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. As somebody who loves Kavalan, I don't know that would have been my guess on this.
I'm really
I'm
not
thinking-
familiar with Kavalan, so you guys are gonna have to stand in for me.
I'm not getting Kavlan too, so I don't
It's
know.
got that hotness though, right? Like that hot country, quick maturation, quick.
It's got the new hotness, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
There
It's
is
got
a
this. I just can't place it. Maybe like burnt popcorn or something. There's something funny to the nose that I just can't place.
I think I know what this is.
It reminds
And
me-
I think I've tried it before, so I'm gonna find my notes from the time that I tried it.
It reminds me a bit of if anyone's had the Rins releases from Brookladdy.
Yes, it's some funky Brookladdy cask. I would 100% believe. Although it smells a bit hot for that.
It's
Yeah, for
too
sure.
hot per Brookladdy, yeah.
But
It's got
neither,
like a.
neither of these scotches, right?
The distillate, yeah.
No,
is-
these are not scotches.
Right.
Both of these are international or
It's almost like a-
intercontinental, as it would be.
It's like a steak Montreal steak spice kind of character.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah,
if people
there
from
we go.
Montreal actually use Montreal steak spice. I
You
do.
just call it steak spice there.
Yeah,
So can we,
exactly.
can we have a little, can we have a little hint? Is it newer or older?
Do we want a hint? Maybe should we save the hints?
I was
No,
gonna say
there's no hints. There's no
No
hints.
hints.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw Millstone out there.
Whoa.
Interesting.
No. Not happy enough for Millstone.
You don't think so?
Going European on us, Colin.
But I would go more, if it's not Kavlan, like milk and honey.
I do not think this is Kavalan.
No.
I mean, it might be, but
If it's not.
That's
a
not the
Kavlan,
vibe I
it's
get.
Milk and honey. for
Maybe
Millstone.
Amrut?
Yeah, I was gonna say Amber's got that.
I could
pepper.
believe Amrit. Yeah.
I don't know. I've got like 13 bottles of milk and honey. I mean, I might be wrong, but that doesn't really come off like that for me.
I've only tried
That's what I was
2 or
thinking.
3 of them, but that wouldn't have been my first impression either.
I've tried one peated milk and honey, and it did not. It wasn't anything like this.
Number 2, I don't even know what it is.
Number 2 is wild.
It's
Um,
what's got it.
Yeah.
It's
Number 2
difficult to get
is
to.
like number 2 is like
Paul John.
pumpernickel croutons, like Chex Mix.
Yes. Croutons is a great note on this one.
Yeah.
That would explain the salad note that I got. The croutons.
Salad.
Well-
There you go.
Yeah, this is like smelling a
Yeah.
Caesar salad with fresh croutons.
Absolutely.
Caesar salad.
Salady, yeah.
That's the craziest whiskey note I've
it
heard.
might be-
This is
it might
all
be the-
like 100% savory. I don't get many
Yeah.
sweet notes. Maybe
no-
like a cusp of like a wild like a wildflower honey at the very end of the nose, but otherwise it's all savory.
For me, it's
Yeah.
just chili powder, like red chili powder. Like even to the point where it feels like I've inhaled
Yeah.
chili powder, where it's like in
Actually,
the
I
top
get
of my
that.
nose.
That bit of spice in the nose, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I put it to my nose the first time, so what is this? Doesn't even smell like whiskey. And
Right.
now,
Yeah.
and
I agree.
I'm addicted to it. I just want to keep on going back to it again and again.
Yeah.
Could
The
be a
more
rice
I
something.
smell it, the more spice I get. Like whether it's chili powder or like a bit of paprika or even like a bit of garam masala.
Garam masala, totally. Cinnamon a little bit. That's in garam masala, I guess.
But maybe this is one of those Paul John's. What was that? Has anybody tried that green box?
Mithuna?
What, Mithuna? I've had it. It's really good. I don't remember it smelling like this though.
No.
I
I
get
think
this
the
like
Mithuna
really
was a lot
funky
hotter as
kind of
well.
putty note to it, kind of like a taro bubble tea with putty.
Yeah.
Oh, bubble tea's good.
I got a little bit of raisin on the nose now, like underneath all the spice.
I'll give you a yellow raisin for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
take any raisin you'll give me.
Wondering what would
Like
the water do to this?
Oh my
That's a good
gosh.
question.
That's a great question. I'm kind of scared to know, honestly. I get like a sloppy Joe, like what is it called? Like a brisket sloppy Joe. There's almost like a Russian, a little bit of like cheesiness too.
Oh, like a cheese scone or something, like
Yeah.
caramelized cheese.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, this is very Japanese, not really in the whiskey style, but more in the, like, you know, they always have those weird like gummies or kind of appetizers and stuff, you know. It's always weird. It's always smells awesome. You're always wondering exactly what it is. Like for me, this is exactly that. The second one is very much Japanese, not as much as a whiskey, but mostly as food.
It smells like the flavor packet from extra spicy instant ramen.
Yeah.
Like if you've had those like bulldog things, they're like have that crying bird on the bird
100%.
mascot. Yeah.
Well, don't put water because 2 drops of water kills the nose on this.
Oh, really?
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The nose is hard to get anyway. It might just be the crappy shot glass I'm using to nose it out of, but
Oh man, the nose is insane. Like
Yeah.
explosive.
Loki, I hope not. Oh my
in a
god, what are they
Glen
feeding
Keith.
those sheep?
Yeah.
Aaron, is it Loki?
These are both absolute weirdos. I will say that.
Totally.
One
They are
smells
very
so
weird.
normal compared to 2. Going back
Oh
to it.
yeah, when you go back and smell 1 after 2, and it's like
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is just a scotch or something.
yeah, exactly.
It's like a Ben Riach, like a peated
Yeah.
Ben Riach.
For
Still
sure.
fun
Well,
jerky
for me, this one would be the number 2 would be better nose because it's really different. You know,
Yeah.
it's like something which I would like to smell. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost thinking like, you know, I don't know if you have been to Asia and like in the night market and they got the spice stall
Yeah.
and you just walk in and it's just like this melange of spices coming together.
Okay, this one's
Yeah,
pretty tight.
I
Make sure you
went
get your
with-
vote, Sid. You got 10 seconds.
I've always
Number
wanted to be in a
2 to me
melange.
is smells like
There you go.
a high ester rum. It's got like some from South Africa where they got the high ester. It's got that just crazy funk on it, almost like a dirty sock.
I feel
I
like
know
these two
nothing about
whiskeys
rum.
are.
Me neither.
We've just had a massive buildup, and now we're it's like
Is that by one
watching
vote again?
sideshow almost.
That is by 1 vote. And again, I don't get to vote on these, so I'm going with number 2. So it's a tie.
Oh, you did it again.
So I
It's
think
hot.
for me, number 1 is the better whiskey nose, right? Like number 2
Definitely.
is pretty interesting because it's very
Number 2
bizarre.
is just
You ask like what is the better whiskey?
100%
nose?
agree.
Number 1
Yeah.
sounds more like a whiskey.
yeah.
Totally.
But
Number 2 is
is
just different.
weird and different and fun. That's why
So
I'm voting for it.
interesting.
100%, very interesting.
Man, Mike, you're doing exactly like me when there's one team winning at dodgeball and I just start playing with the other one and just like headshot every student I have until it's a bit more equal and I withdraw from the game like, oh yeah, I'm done. I'm told you're exactly doing the same thing.
No, I think it's just that I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan, so I always I'm always behind the loser.
Underdog.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into taste. Yeah.
Hey,
So here, I definitely at least to my palate, the peat swings in.
Oh yeah,
immediately.
Yeah.
I didn't get a heavy peat note on the nose. So if I had to guess, I would think this is peated under like 15 ppm.
Holy hell, that's hot.
Yeah.
That's why I think this is like a peated Amrit or something, like a mild peated Amrit.
Yeah, it's not sweet enough to be an Amrit though.
It almost feels like a mesquite kind of smoke to it, right?
Yeah,
I've gotten that from Emerald before.
To me, the nose smelled nothing like Kavalan whatsoever, but the palate, this is somewhat similar to my peated Solist. It's definitely not an exact match. I don't get those like tropical fruit notes that I get from Kavalan, but like there are more similarities there than I expected her to be in the nose.
I get that peat, and I get that like strong sherry hit now.
Yep.
Like those raisins and those prunes and like just stewed down fruit.
Yeah, it's very like savory, like tandoori lamb or something.
Yeah, there's like a reduction quality to it where it seems concentrated almost. I'm gonna give it a try with a couple drops of water in my last.
David, you should stop huffing paint and you'd write better notes.
Didn't do much to the nose, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Aaron, I definitely get like that southern barbecue pit vibe on that one for sure.
The a little bit of water to the palate. It doesn't quake the spiciness of the, like if I had to guess it's a sweeter sherry.
Yeah, there's kind of like tropical sweetness to it.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah, sort of a like crystallized pineapple or something.
Yeah. So initially, I thought when I just nosed it, I thought it might be some Irish because it has that tropicalness to it.
Yeah, I hear that.
It's way too strong in flavor for an Irish whiskey. Like this is not something triple distilled.
It
doesn't have to be triple distilled to be Irish.
Redbreast 12 cast strength.
That's true.
Yep.
That one's triple distilled even. Yeah. For me, this is very like it's very gingery, sort of woody a little bit.
Well, anyways,
spicy.
That was before I tasted it because there is peat to it. So when there is peat to it, it's not Irish for sure, unless it's Connemara,
Yeah.
And it doesn't taste like Connemara, right? Like it's not.
Yeah. No, it's not, because there's hardly any cast strength Connemara I've seen. So this is definitely over 50%.
I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. If it was a Kavalan, it would and it was the peated, it also wouldn't be sherried. So I mean that's kind of cheating, but I feel like it must be something else.
But that would add some tropical characteristic to it. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Did you guys make the swap over to number 2 yet?
Oh man.
I mean, I cheated and started on number 2 as we were nosing it.
Yeah. You're as bad as my wife.
Drew, I absolutely get maple on number 2. Like just full on maple bomb.
I just get like overwhelming bread as I go back to it on the nose.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's like raisin challah.
My father-in-law makes this like monkey bread that has like chili flakes and stuff like that in it, and it's like it smells exactly like that.
That's a spicy monkey.
Yeah, like fresh bread with spices on it.
Yeah, French toast.
I think that here we're back down into the 40s with the ABV also.
Seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
The consistency of the palate it's more watery.
More towards 43, 45%, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I feel like it's hard to tell when you flip flop back between something that's clearly like higher end cast strength versus low to really nail it. But yeah, it's definitely in the 40s somewhere.
It does have a consistent for being a lower ABV. The finish though is longer than I would expect by the mouthfeel.
Honestly, number 2 tastes absolutely nothing after number 1.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah,
like,
because your number 1 already burnt your palate, so.
yeah. I mean, it's flat. The nose is still very good, but it's just flat.
I don't know. I mean, if you really wash out your mouth and you let it sit in your tongue a little bit, I feel like it's definitely got flavor to it, but still don't know what it is.
It's a very different whiskey. I really want to know what this is. Like, I'm so inquisitive right now to know what this is.
Yeah,
It's interesting. The votes in this one are coming in quite a lot slower.
Oh, mostly because I didn't notice the votes were up.
Yeah.
Get your votes in.
The hoisin sauce. I'm butchering the pronunciation.
Oh,
but
hoisin
definitely-
sauce.
Hoisin, there you go.
Great note.
Yeah.
That's a good call, Maxwell.
Yeah, number 2 is just French toast with cinnamon and
Yeah. Very
There's more-
savory.
Cinnamon and hoisin sauce.
Very
Classic
I was gonna say,
French toast.
If you made French toast spicy, then sure.
That's that monkey bread that was just
Yeah,
being described.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's more sweetness than I would have expected on the palate of number 2 after the nose. Like, to me, that it was so salty and like almost like a garlicky kind of a
garlicky
to it. But the palate
yeah.
is much more restrained.
you might hurry up and post because we have to leave.
All right, 15 seconds left to get your votes in. He's got to go to the airport. He's even got his coat on.
Yes. I have.
Oh, there you go. Flight Club.
All right. Interestingly enough, not
Number
even
1.
close.
Oh, blowout.
Hey.
There you go.
I'm not shocked with that one.
Yeah, me neither.
I think it's a cool journey. Number 2 is a cool journey, and having it in a blind is fucking awesome. So amazing work on the sourcing, Russ.
Okay, now you're going to tell us what they are?
No, we're going to skip ahead to the Islay Cage match now. So,
oh, it was
Nailed it.
number 1, Colin.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Wow.
Yep.
This is
Called
a
it
whistle
out right
guess.
off the bat.
Nice. Good one, Tim.
That's
So
number
yeah,
1.
this is from Sweden, which is a Dutch distillery right down near the border of Belgium and the Netherlands. Peated PX, and pretty young.
Wait, this is 1 or 2?
This is 1.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
So a peated PX, 46%.
Yeah.
Relatively young Dutch whiskey. And number 2.
Which is why I didn't care for it back in the
It is
day.
en route.
Are you?
Thanks.
I think
No,
you
there's something
flipped
wrong.
them. I
Yeah.
think you flipped them.
These are definitely reversed.
They are reversed. They are
I've had
reversed.
this en route before, and it's
Yeah,
definitely
come on.
number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this
you
is
reversed them.
nice.
Yeah.
Mike, this is
Russ,
not
help me
right.
out, buddy. This is the order that you gave me.
Man, this is turning in a shit show, man. This is
We
turning.
got that Millstone, and it definitely is number 1.
Millstone is definitely number 1.
Yeah.
All right,
Really?
boys and girls, have a good night.
No way.
Yeah, I think he's
All right. Good night.
Where did Russell go? We lost him.
Yeah, where's Russell? He's the one that put these together. He gave me the order. That's all I got.
I mean,
Although
just
I will say, as number 2, 59% seems like a stretch.
yeah, for sure.
What was the Millstone strength again?
It was
Can we
40.
like go back?
I think it's 46.
I own that Millstone.
Then yeah, they're probably
No. There's no way this is right.
Yeah. It
yeah, they
can't be.
must be mixed up.
Yeah. So it was Rohit who nailed it.
I thought it was peated because I've had this whiskey.
Well,
I'm so
that's
excited,
the,
guys. Come
Whoa,
on now.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, I'm gonna say
the
one
smoky
thing.
stuff.
I'm gonna say one thing before we move to the Islay matchup.
Sorry, you guys were calling me. I was sorry. I was in the
Oh.
can.
So
Go
which
ahead.
one was number one and which one was number two?
Number one was the Amroot, and number two was the Millstone.
See?
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Sorry, everybody. I mixed it up. I'm fired.
That just made it more interesting, Mike.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Well, it just
Adding
My
to
bad,
the,
Mike.
adding to the
Was bad
drama.
information possibly there.
it just proves that you can't just bankroll us. You can't just tell
I
us
can't
anything.
just
Yeah.
check out.
Yeah.
You can't trust me. Now we know.
No, that's not true, Mike. Don't be like that. I have to trust you.
All
you
right. Well,
add
that
that-
was.
You add that extra excitement element to it, right?
For sure.
Yeah, this was all a test.
It
But
was
you
all-
also ruined it because I guessed Millstone on the first one, and so that was my moment, and it just came crashing down.
It's just crushed, eh?
But you know what's
For the
surprising for me?
doctor.
Colin, except for the color, nothing about number two was PX.
No, I agree with
I got that raisiny sort of thing, which
Yeah.
I guess was PX, but it
Yeah.
not very typical. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I don't know.
it's
I definitely wouldn't have guessed PX on that.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you look at the color in both of them, they were exactly similar.
Yeah, yeah.
One was port, one was PX, and they looked exactly the same. But except for the color, there was nothing in number two which said PX.
And
You guys don't get Caesar salad from your PX casks?
I
Maybe
also
It's
I
the
never
end
those
of your
Caesar
sauce.
salad notes.
I never would have guessed port pipe either.
No.
honestly.
That's true.
Not very porty.
No.
I wonder if
Yeah.
it was a tawny port.
It could be. That's a good
Maybe.
call.
Well, I said tropical, which comes from port. And
I'm at
because
least confident in my ability to say it was not a Catalan, so I'm gonna take that as a consolation prize.
We definitely nailed that.
So
Absolutely.
It's kind of crazy because every Amroot I've had, I did not find good. And this tasting blind, I'm like, does absolutely nothing for me.
Hashtag trash bag.
No, I mean, I get it. Some people love Amroot, and like I keep receiving samples because everyone's saying, "Oh, I got a great one, you'll taste," and like you're gonna love Amroot after that. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'd reach for basically anything else, just like Farclas, Glen Farclas. I don't actually hate on Glen Farclas. I just find it boring, and it just does nothing for me. It's not bad whiskey. It's
You
just
gotta get in the
I actually
family.
think the Port Nova is a better port matured amaret, and also that I don't know exactly what it is, but that one with the blue label on the bottle that I think might be Canadian exclusive is also better port matured amaret.
I don't know. Nick and I now we're gonna have a boxing match because I can't take that Emerald slander lying down.
I'm sorry,
that
it's just it's not bad whiskey. It's just I don't know. There's something to it. Maybe it's in like I thought it was in my
it's
mind.
hard. Sometimes it's hard to appreciate something which is very good.
I thought that it was because it's Indian whiskey, and I'm just like, well, India does whiskey. I don't know. But
So what
it's
you're saying is
fine.
you're racist.
No, yeah, well, probably. But, I mean, I'm French
boxing
Canadian,
match.
so maybe.
And
but,
recording.
I mean, it's just like this was
Whoa.
blind. This was blind, and it does nothing. It's not bad.
But you
It's
call
just-
all these you compare these to all these whiskeys. You say great from Park Whiskey Society.
The what?
And then when you get all these whiskeys, these new whiskeys from Park Whiskey Society,
Yeah.
which you say they are great.
Yeah.
Have you ever compared them with Amrit?
I've never done a head-to-head.
Do that.
Like
Also, didn't number one win by a landslide, or did I forget?
It
that?
did.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did.
Oh, I prefer number one to number two. But still, I mean, for me, Amrut is like the world Glenfarclas. It's not bad. I mean, I can drink some and still have fun, but or Aberlour, the Abunad. Like I
One
know
to each.
everyone is raging, like, oh yeah, Abunad is such a great cherry bomb. I find it okay. It's not
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
I
That's
can
a that's a carryover from like 5 to 10 years ago, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I think, to be fair, for Indian whiskey, I actually really like Paul John. I think
Yeah,
they've done a
Paul-
lot of good stuff.
I need
Paul
more
John.
Paul
Would
John.
highly recommend trying out a few of those.
I hear the new injury is good also.
Indra
yeah.
is good.
Explore
You know,
that.
there is
Paul John, yeah.
there's Rampur now. There is one which is coming called Gyanchand. It's amazing how much whiskey they are churning out now. They were the largest whiskey drinkers in the world, and now they are making so much whiskey.
Sure. I mean, that's good. I
Oh,
think
but-
the takeaway for me, I'm pretty specific about my single malts, and very like almost regional to a fault. And to me, the opened my eyes to the breadth, you know, the swing of potential that is out there, that I need to step outside of my comfort zone a little bit more. So
No,
I think
definitely.
very valuable.
By the way, I'm not saying because it's Indian whiskey, it's like boring. I thought the same about Baines, which is South African. Like, well, South Africa makes whiskey, kind of a weird place to make whiskey. Like, if we think about where, like, usually we make whiskey, and I ended up liking it a lot. I've had 2 Paul John I've really liked. I don't know. There's something about Amrut I just don't get, and the same thing goes for Cavalan. Yeah, it's good whiskey, but in the end, I don't know. It's
Different strokes.
Okay, I was gonna say
Cavalan's got
shots
such a
fired on the
style, too.
Cavalan. Let's just leave it there on the Cavalan. But I would say that the Amrut, I sort of agree with you. Like, I think I've had more misses than hits from the distillery. And I've been lucky enough to try a good few of them through splits and other things. I haven't tried a lot of the higher end stuff like the Greedy Angels, but you know, as some of you noticed, I sparked a bit of controversy over the Truth Malters bottling from a few years ago, now the PX Sherry one. And I just think that some of them are not as good as they could be. And they definitely drink a bit hot, which I think we saw with sample one here.
What the Truth Malters Amrut was one of the worst whiskeys I've tasted.
Hashtag trash bag.
Yeah, it's amazing what the hype can do to a whiskey.
Maybe we need to do a good international whiskeys tasting then.
We did that last year, didn't we? We need to do another one is what we need. We need more Amrut.
I mean, you know, look at M&H just winning a whole bunch of international awards. I mean,
That's true.
There's Australian stuff.
I could source some M&H stuff for us.
I was gonna say, I mean, M&H is available out west. Like we've done some good bottle splits with M&H, and they've had some good stuff.
Yeah, we've got a couple single casks through another club I'm in, and I mean, just fantastic.
And I think saying like, oh, it's sort of like an atypical whiskey region or whatever. I think there are advantages and disadvantages to that, right? Like one of Cavalan's things is like, because it's a hotter climate, stuff matures much more quickly. So if you put out something that's like 6 or 7 years old, it tastes more like a 20-year-old single malt. Like it's not a perfect approximation because they still drink quite hot. They're still young. You can't cover that up. But there is something to say for having kind of a different climate and how it affects the whiskey. And Amrut is obviously very much in that vein of a very hot climate.
Kavalan to me has a different style than Amrut though, or Amrut has more of a distinct spirit character than Kavalan, whereas Kavalan really is, every single one I've tried is all about the cask, and it's just cask. And like I've tried the ex-bourbon Kavalan, and I still don't know what their spirit tastes like, because even that one is just piles and piles of cask. Whereas Amrut, I mean, I'm biased. I think personally that Amrut can stand toe to toe with any distillery in Scotland. There, I said it. I think Amrut is that good. I've
Wow,
had
those
so many
are-
really good Emirates.
That is a powerful statement.
There you go.
If you try the,
Let's leave our
if you try
international
the-
discussion here, and we'll put a pin on that. I can see Travis; he's vibrating here. it's time to get into some Kilchoman, and I've been nosing these two, and I got to get into these as well. So, Tim, what do you say, buddy?
Well, I mean, I feel like I also, as a lover of Kilchoman, and especially their single casks, I can speak to this, but no one is going to be able to speak better to the provenance of it than Travis. So I don't know, Travis, do you want to give us any background on this one before I jump in with my biased opinion?
Yes, please.
What kind of background are you looking on it? Like what I went through when I picked it or whatever, or just something on the cask?
Any nuances?
So basically, I picked this. There's a local restaurant down the road here called Pitch, and became really good friends with the owner there and talked him into some Kilchoman. He's a big supporter of Impact stuff. So he eventually got around to picking wanted to pick a Kilchoman, and he brought me in and Russell, Elijah, and added his 2 cents into a little more than 2 cents, I should say, into buying taking part of that cask to get up to you guys. So I was given this in a bourbon cask, and if you guys know me, I love Kilchoman and bourbon. That's my preference by far. But when I sat down to try this, didn't really know anything about it other than it was just a sherried 100% or PX 100% Islay whiskey, and that's all I knew about it. I believe it's like 7 years. I have a bottle around here, but I knew right away, right when I tasted it. I think the bourbon one that I sampled was just a little bit too oaky. It had a little bit too much wood on it. It was good, but yeah, this one just it checked all the boxes for me. I mean, the lower ABV, or not the lower ABV, the lower PPM on this being 100% Islay, it's only 20 ppm as opposed to 50 ppm.
For sure.
It still just stands out. I mean, it has a little bit more wood influence, but that wood comes through with that peat, and it shines. This PX, it's thick, it's unctuous, it's oily. It's got everything that I enjoy in a good whiskey. And come to find out, after we had done this pick, I was talking to one of the sons, Peter, and another tasting book I was doing, and this was the last PX single cask that they were going to release for some time to anybody, because their stocks have been so low, they've had to hold on to them for their future bottlings in-house alone. So this is kind of a cool little special bottle as well.
Very awesome. Thanks so much, Travis. I mean, not often do you get the person who chose the expression to be able to drop in and drop some knowledge on us. So unreal. And the nose on this is pretty much everything that I love about the under 10-year-old Kilchoman single casks. And as Travis said, they do have 2 peating levels. They peat in-house at 20 ppm, which is their own Islay grown barley. The general releases are 50 ppm. So here on the nose, I get that very distinctive like wintergreen that kind of attaches itself to the lower ppm Kilchoman releases. The PX sherry comes in with the dark fruits, that sweetness, the coastal breeze. I get like a heather honey. The salinity is there for sure. That ashiness that you would expect. I don't get much of the medicinal peat that you can get with some of the 50 ppm Kilchoman. What does everybody?
I don't even know I'm sorry. I was going to say I don't even know the tasting notes on this. Kilchoman, they're very specific. They still have their hand in single cask picks and things like that, where very rarely do they let you change labeling as far as notes go. I think they've let Sam do that on. Well, I know the one that Elijah and myself and Fernando picked. at that time we didn't know he was going to use our notes, and that one, even though I had my hand in picking that, I will completely admit, worst tasting notes on a Kilchoman bottle ever. We just kind of set them some ideas that we were, we're tasting some stuff. They weren't really like notes that you would associate, like Tim, where you lay out, thick cherries and jams and, woods and smoke. It was just like, it's jammy. Meats came around in the end, and it's just so boring. It's a horrible descriptors.
They're just concise. That's all, Travis.
Yeah, there you go. That's a little bit better word, I guess.
What is anybody else coming through with anything before we move over to the nose on the Lochindaal?
It smells red.
Yeah.
It smells red flavored in a very good way.
The red hot comment is that's pretty on point.
It doesn't smell red in like an uncomplex way either. Like it's not just like,
right.
I don't know what this flavor is. It's red.
There's depth for sure.
Yeah. Is that earthy kind of like dried twigs character to the smoke that I get from Kilchoman all the time.
I hear that for sure.
Very, very identifiable, I think.
I'm excited to hear you guys' notes on the nose. I can't wait to hear your tasting notes. I haven't, I've had some local response, but this is the first time I've done a tasting with it. So it'll be interesting to see what everybody thinks about it across the board.
That's super cool. All right, everybody ready to move over to nosing that Lochindaal? So a little background on Lochindaal. Lochindaal was only produced, I would consider it among the rarest of the Islay malts, because it was produced in 2 spirit runs. So there was a 2007 and a 2009 run. The 2007s tend to be a little bit more like refined. Like I mentioned earlier, I think there's kind of 2 classifications with Port Charlottes. I would say the same about Lochindaal as well. The 2009s tend to be a little bit on the more like farmyardy, little like dirtier peat kind of a taste. However, there are exceptions to any of those rules. The 2009 production actually was put into a neutral vessel and bottled at different times. So there are 2009s and 2010s of the Lochindaals, but there's only about 500 casks that were ever filled. So very, very rare as far as spirits go. It is a 50 ppm, so it is a different, post distillation measurement of the ppm. This one was bottled by Derek and Fiona at the Artisan restaurant, which is down a little bit south of Glasgow in Wishaw. Derek runs the Friends of Bruichladdich page on Facebook, so anybody familiar with that would definitely know. Him and John McDougall, they've bottled some fantastic single casks over the years, and this is one of them. But it also has Derek's wife's name on it, Fiona. So this one's a 12-year-old, so a little bit older. It is a bourbon cask versus a PC cask. A little bit more ABV there as well. So let's dive in. What's everybody getting? I know there was an early comment that there was some like putty. Forget who it was that made the diving back in. Sorry, give me one sec. Oh, it was a bubblegum flavor, and I agree with that.
Bubblegum.
Yeah, there's kind of like a Big League Chew, Bazooka. The peat
is an absolute cheese bomb. This is what everybody either loves or hates about Bruichladdich.
Yeah, this is what people who hate Bruichladdich must think all Bruichladdich taste like.
And I could only wish, right?
It's funny too. I have a ton of Lochindaals. I think I've tasted about like 60 different ones, and I own close to maybe 40. This one to me is way less cheesy than others that I've had that are younger. So that's is it like a Pecorino Romano cheese or like a
I'm
cottage?
thinking lower brow, like white cheddar craft dinner.
Okay, I can hear that. There are some that are like intensely sharp, cheesy, and Brins can be like that also.
Yeah, I'm going with a little bit sharper. This is more like a maybe like a Manchego. It's got a bit of a kick to it. It's so good. I mean, I love that lactic cheesiness to Bruichladdich. So I mean, this just has it.
Really?
I know this may come as a shock to some of you. But this is so good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. I've had it a couple times. I haven't tasted the Kilchoman yet, so I'm interested to dive into the palate. Are you guys? Oh yeah, here's the
I got the pole up for the nose.
Coming back
hopefully
to
hopefully the Mandingo is going to win, Russ.
I'm gonna make another weird comment, but this smells like the first diaper I changed from my daughter in the best possible way. Like it smells fucking dirty, but at the same time, you're so amazed because it's the first diaper. For me, it's exactly like that. Maybe it's the 10 other whiskeys I've had before, but it's like disgusting at the same time, super exciting.
I almost said with my I said in the chat that it was like a kid's birthday party loot bag because it was like Play-Doh and candy necklaces. I almost said like it's the authentic kid's birthday party experience because somebody threw up at the birthday party.
I was gonna say, having smelled that first diaper, having been the one that changed it, it smells like shit.
Yeah, but it's exciting.
It's not exciting.
Oh, no.
Smells like shit.
There is a lactic quality to a lot of the peated Bruichladdich, so I'm not surprised to hear that.
I really like it though.
And people have just like anything else with whiskey. There's like I'm super sulfur. Like I can immediately notice it. To me, like that farmyardy lactic note with Bruichladdich, I personally really like that. Just like some people really like sulfur in their whiskey. To me, this one is lighter than average.
Have y'all ever smelled pure lactic acid? Because I have,
brutal.
and this ain't it.
Yeah, it's brutal. That's what I'm saying. Like to me,
I was gonna say I got that lactic acid note from the Clynelish and the Brora. I do not get any lactic acid from this.
No, I get the cheese, but not that kind of acidity like you get from other, like not like a goat cheese or something, or like other lactic-y Bruichladdich.
Yeah, it's the milky baby puke for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got baby sick right off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when was the last time you smelled that?
That's a dad.
Like 2 hours ago, as my toddler was eating it.
Oh,
it definitely doesn't smell like that.
My toddler's sitting here mouthing off about whiskey notes, so
doing what they do. All right, so there is the results for the nose.
There we go. The public has spoken.
So let's get to tasting.
We ready to move on to the palate?
Let's do it.
That is just absolutely lovely.
Ooh, it's got like a Lapsang Souchong kind of thing. There's maybe not Lapsang Souchong, but some kind of like oxidized like tea kind of flavor.
Which one are we talking about here?
The Kilchoman. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, we know what Travis's pick's going to be, especially knowing his thoughts on Bruichladdich.
Oof.
That's fair.
There's that PX.
Yeah, the PX is shining through like
Oh.
a beacon through the fog.
That is a sherry bomb. That is
And the
pretty
finish
nice.
the finish just goes and goes and goes. I mean, to me, this is quintessential Kilchoman in a really, really well chosen cask too. Like PX can, just like port, PX can overshadow the spirit, but I think there's a harmonious balance to both of these where you're getting everything you would expect out of a mildly peated northern Islay whiskey.
Man, I should get a bottle of this. Oh wait, I already have one.
So when I tasted the sample, I got a really odd Taco Bell note. I poured some out of said bottle. No Taco Bell note.
Interesting.
Yo quiero.
I think I do get, there's almost like a sweet pinto bean-ish kind of note that I get in there. I don't know, call me crazy, but
That's the lard in the Taco Bell beans. Yeah.
I'm interested to see what a little bit of water is going to do. We do have some really good notes here. The bacon, I definitely get that. There's a chocolatey note. I think it's a semi-sweet chocolate, not necessarily like a dark chocolate specifically.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much all on the same page here with the notes. And oh my gosh, a little bit of water, holy crap, the nose explodes with some water. So way more sherry, but it still is capturing that coastal, like bonfire at sunset. Really, really lovely, Travis. Fantastic work.
Thank you. If you hate it, say so. I got thick skin.
All right, when everybody's ready, we can make the maneuver over to Lochindaal. Just doing a little palate cleanse with some water. So after having tasted the Kilchoman, I definitely get more of that kind of farmyardy quality.
Mm-hmm.
And there is like a sweet baking spice that has edged its way to the middle of the nose that I didn't notice. Even I've had this. I have a couple bottles of this too, and I didn't notice that kind of sweet, almost like a brown sugar, maybe with a little nutmeg too. Definitely vanilla from the bourbon cask. A little bit of nougat. And on the palate, it's as I remember. So even at 50 ppm, so noticeably more peat. From a rating perspective, I get more peat on the Kilchoman than I do on the Bruichladdich. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that.
Almost get like a candy on the back of the palate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got that kind of weird sweetness.
Yeah, but way back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Eddie. Oh my goodness.
Colin, you all right?
He's in a boxing match of his own.
Oh my God. We have a situation on our hands.
Yeah, I got a situation on my hands. I got some cured meat, some farmyard notes, bit of must.
That's fair.
Is that just from the cat?
I think that was a dog, I'm pretty sure. It looked like a
Oh, is that a dog?
Yeah.
What kind of cats do you guys got out there?
It looked like was that a duck tolling retriever?
Ooh, Nova
It
Scotia.
was a duck tolling retriever.
Boom.
Holy crap, man.
Dog
You're not
spotting.
just good with tasting notes, you're good with dogs, clearly.
And yes, we do have a cat.
That's a hard question there.
This is a really tough question. I
Not
love both of these for pretty specific reasons. It's going to be really hard for me to decide.
I know which way I'm going.
This is the hardest.
Just because Travis is here doesn't mean you got to be in.
No. I'm pretty loose with my. These are like two of my favorite distilleries. So,
Does that help?
No. You got to mad dog them, Travis.
Anyone else with some notes on the Lochindaal now that we've all tasted?
Does not taste like diaper.
No, does not.
No baby vomit?
No, that's absent from the palate.
It's not the more, okay?
Yeah.
To me, though, the interesting thing about Lochindaal being peated at 50 ppm, to me, it's lighter than almost any Port Charlotte. Like you put a 62 point something Port Charlotte up to this, and there's a delicate quality to the spirit with Lochindaal that you really only age with Port Charlotte seems to bring that out. Whereas, the earliest Lochindaals are 2007, and there weren't very many of them. So comparisons are a little bit tougher. But to me, it almost has that like iron fist and a velvet glove type of quality that you would get with some of the lower peated Octomores. A totally different thing for sure, but there is that like velvety quality, like a delicateness, something that's peated at 50 ppm. You wouldn't expect it to be as delicate as the Lochindaals could be.
I almost think though you should have done a sherried Lochindaal versus the sherried Kilchoman.
There's a Fergan Harris release that I would love to. I need to get my hands on a bottle or two of the Kilchoman first, but there's a Fergan Harris release it's a virgin oak maturation with a PX finish that I would kill to put head to head with this Kilchoman.
That is going to be so bonkers.
Well, I mean, there's
the color on that Lochindaal, that Fergan Harris, is insane.
Dude, it is spectacular.
100%.
Yeah.
I didn't vote, but yeah.
It was just Travis. Travis just voted. That was it.
I love
That's a
Lochindaal.
resounding victory.
I love Lochindaal, but to me, the Kilchoman obviously overarcs.
We've been lucky enough to taste a Dramfool sherry Lochindaal 12-year, just like this one, 2009, and really, I think it blows this one away. I mean, it's such a different whiskey from this.
Yeah.
So same distillation, same age.
Sure.
But yeah, really nice. I mean, this is obviously, I would not turn this down at all. But
Sure. Yeah, you're not kicking this one out of bed.
I mean, if you want to send me some of that, I'll let you know what the comparison is.
I don't own that bottle of Lochindaal, unfortunately, but I've been able
I
to.
do.
She does.
I do. I own that bottle of Lochindaal.
Oh, Kelly, let's do some swaps.
Yeah,
Let's do some swaps. Absolutely.
There's a port cask Dramfool, a 12-year-old port cask, a 2010. That's insanely good too. I think the cask definitely changes the situation in this.
I mean, it does. I mean, the one that, like David said, the one that I have is a 2009, 12 years, 60%, but different.
there's another Shinoya, or not Shinoya, Shinanoya. There's an old malt cask Oloroso Lochindaal that I have a bottle, but I haven't cracked it yet. I would love to chuck that up next to it as well, because I think most of the time when Brooklady says sherry cask, it is an Oloroso. It tends to be. So
The bottle pop challenge. Go open it.
yeah, exactly. That's totally true. If I didn't have so many bottles open right now, I absolutely would.
All of our bottles are open. Everything you see back here is open. Go open your bottle.
It would be. I wish I wish I had more friends that were closer to the New York City area that I could pop crazy bottles. If anybody comes down, please force me to open some of these. But yeah, here we are, 94% on the Kilchoman.
Where are you located exactly? Tim?
I'm like 40 minutes west, directly west of Midtown, New York City, in New Jersey. So if you fly into Newark, JFK, LaGuardia, and you've got an extended layover, I'll come with a dram pack, and we can dive into some weird stuff that I've got in the archives.
Dude, I'm so coming.
You should.
But
I mean,
where in New Jersey?
I'm in Lincoln Park, New Jersey. So Morris County. It's right in the center of northern New Jersey.
I lived in New Jersey for 7 years, so.
Oh yeah, yeah. I grew up in Boonton, just a couple towns over from where I am, but currently. But yeah. So please, I would love for a reason to open up more of my whiskey. But I feel bad like cracking stuff.
I know the feeling, Tim. I can totally relate.
You know, like
pretty much it's no holds barred. If anyone comes visits me, it's point to something and we'll.
Yeah, I'll send you my list and I'll put together a tasting for you. Even that's how chomping at the bit I am.
Where are you getting, Russell?
I'm in the tundra of Edmonton, Alberta. Trust me, I can attest for the fact that you do not want to come here.
I'm going to ride my motorcycle up through parts of Canada this summer, so.
He really does. He means it.
There's like no whiskey
by all means,
and no whiskey at all in Edmonton.
No, for sure
there's no whiskey in Edmonton.
Okay, but we're willing to trade.
I was gonna say it's still better than the LCBO.
Everything is better than the LCBO.
Even SAQ.
Don't get started on the LCBO.
Yeah, that's
well, actually, the LCBO might be better than the SAQ because they do have electricity right now.
Yeah, there you go.
That's true, but the SAQ
let's leave it at that.
Cantillon, so it's a bit of a wash.
Y'all are just saying letters.
Yeah,
exactly. Don't worry, Mike. SAQ and SQDC have electricity all year round, whatever the conditions.
Magnifique.
Money.
You're the one guy with the generator.
Well, we can probably shut her down on that. Thank you everybody for joining us for WhiskyMania. Thank you to our guest referees, Tim, fantastic job. Adam, that was fantastic. Nick, all three of you did just a great job walking us through some amazing whiskeys. Thanks, Russ, for putting this smorgasbord of deliciousness together. I think we can all agree that this was a pretty fun adventure tonight. So thank you everybody for joining us. I'm going to stop recording now. We don't have any after drams tonight with Andre because unfortunately he lost a family member, so he won't be able to join us tonight. But we'll keep things going here. We'll just stop recording so we can don't have to stay PG rated. So again, thank you very much.
I'm swearing as soon as this is over.